Hey folks, thanks for joining us today. We'll just take a couple minutes and wait for everybody to log in. I think we've got a couple minutes to go. Does anybody want to just log into the chat and let us know that you can hear us and see us okay? Excuse me. As people come in. Awesome. Thanks, Edward. Appreciate it. It's awesome. Hey, everybody.
Welcome, everyone.
This is so fun. I'm so excited for today. You guys have
a good one.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, we talk about social media all day, every day. So we're excited to share everything. Anybody have any specific questions or things they want to take away from today's chat and discussion? Oh, here we go. Where's everybody coming in from?
Netherlands. Cool.
Oh, very cool.
Edmonton.
Shout out. How you doing, Jennifer? Oh, cool. Awesome. Nice to see you, Derek.
Wow, all over the place. China, Alabama,
Nicaragua. Awesome. Oh, this is cool. That's great.
Houston, Ottawa. Awesome.
Awesome sauce.
We have one question. Oh, hello.
Quebec. Cool. Welcome, Ricardo. We're just going to give it another minute here, guys. Everybody's just kind of coming into the discussion, so give everybody time.
Oh, here we go. Right to business.
I love it. Connecting. I love it that you guys are connecting in the chat. That's so cool. That's awesome. Networking is all about it. New Orleans, cool.
Louisiana, nice.
We're going to ask you guys lots of questions today, so please get warmed up in the chat. Couple ways you can interact with us. We've got obviously the chat that everybody's participating in now. We also have the Q&A, so that goes on record and we can download and keep that there. If you have deeper questions and you need a little bit more coaching, or there's something you're really excited about, you want to learn about, ask a direct question in the chat and we can always reach out to you via email after the fact. We're happy to do that as well. We've already had a couple operators do that in the past through our social channels and otherwise. Great way to connect with people. And we've had some great success. So yeah. I guess we will get ourselves started. So thanks for joining us today, guys. We're going to talk about social media and iGUIDE, specifically how you can leverage all of the different channels that are out there today to really grow your business and build yourselves out, not only as individual operators, but as a functional business that has a scalable model. I think that's really exciting. So I'm Charlene. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager here at iGUIDE. This is Maya. She's our content creator. Yeah. And Maya really focuses on managing all of our social channels and building things out for you guys to leverage and utilize to grow your business from our perspective in terms of, do you want to talk about a little bit about what you do?
I'm the one that's behind the scenes of all the social media platforms. So everyone commenting or responding to your posts, that's me. So it's a really great community that we have. And it's nice to meet new people. So, you know, when you see a post, feel free to interact. I'll be the one answering.
Very cool. Thanks, Maya. That's awesome. And I think from your long form content to your blogs and some of your videos and things like that, you may have seen a little bit of a shift there. We all collaborate as a team, but it would be myself and then obviously my VP Skylar that would be putting those pieces together. So you guys are ready. We're going to dive into this today. So we're going to start off. I've got a bit of a PowerPoint. So when it comes to PowerPoints, I just find it's an easy way to kind of grab all the information. We're going to share this after the fact with everybody as well. And then you'll be able to utilize it. What we've done is we've captured like a number of resources in there that we thought, hey, you know what, this might be really valuable to our audience. So I'm going to share here. And if you excuse me for just one sec, my slideshow. There we go. Can everybody see? There we go. Awesome sauce. So what we're going to talk about today, obviously we're talking about social media. So that means talking about making connections, serving your audience, and then talking about the tools and resources. When we talk about the tools and resources, we've actually gone in to create almost like a mock-up of what you could actually use for your entire social content for an entire month. So it's a little bit of inspiration and some ideas that we came up with as a team and that we've used here at iGUIDE with some success that we wanted to pass on to you. We've also brought together some resources and some of our favorite tools, influencers, and otherwise that we use here for social media, and maybe even personally or in past roles and otherwise, that you guys could really kind of leverage to be able to build out your content and make life a little bit easier. I think one of the biggest things I hear about when we talk about social media is it's overwhelming and I don't know where to start. So we're really focused today on trying to give you a place to start. And if you're shy, you're unsure of how to manage your social media channels, hopefully when you come away from today's discussion, you have a better handle or thought or starting point of where you need to go with your social media. So which part of today are you most looking forward to?
I'm obviously looking forward to the tools and resources. I know it's at the very end, but we've put together and we're still working on some really awesome things and we just can't wait to share it with everyone.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. So when you talk about social media, one of the things I think is a huge misconception that people miss out on is that consumers aren't just looking at Google to decide on whether they like a brand or whether they want to use a service. Surprisingly, for most people to understand and know is that social media is the #1 place people look to figure out whether they want to work with you, whether they want to buy your service. And I mean, I think if we look at our own interactions with things, we probably realize that to be true of ourselves as well.
100%.
Right? Like, I think we'd agree to that. So we're going to dive in here. So when it comes to making connections, so we look at social media, it's a huge opportunity for your business. And so if you look at all of the different channels available, the one thing you really have to think about is where it makes sense for you to be as a brand. So, and when I say as a brand, I mean that both personally and as your business. So some of you that are maybe just an independent operator, you could liken yourselves to a personal brand. Some of you folks that are maybe as a bigger entity, maybe you have a couple of cameras, you have different services that you offer or things that you put out there, you'll be more of a business model. So when we break it down into the numbers, you can see just how many people there are actually online today looking at these different platforms. So in Facebook, you have 280 million users across North America. And surprisingly, even when you're looking at, and I'm going to share this because it's one of my favorite tidbits, I love saying this in a boardroom, it's the most popular platform for anybody. And I'm talking about, you know, we hear, I would say, sort of this antiquated information where anecdotally people will say, it's your grandmother's platform. It's things that people don't care about. You will actually see a lot of VPs and people and decision makers across all sizes of business on Facebook. So it's a great way to get into your audience. And we're going to talk a little bit about what kind of content you might want to use on each of these platforms. And that's going to help you really figure out where you want to be. Because if you are comfortable with a certain type of content, you can find the right social media platform for you or your business to grow. Which one's your favorite?
I'm a visual person, so Instagram all the way, but to each their own. I think professionally, obviously, again, depends where you are, what you're selling. But I think LinkedIn has taken off in the last few years. So it's definitely a place to watch and kind of grow your business there too.
Anybody, I can't see in the chat, but anybody have any questions specifically about any of the platforms that we have highlighted here? Do we have any TikTok users on the call today? TikTok kind of is seen as maybe one of the younger platforms, but we're actually really seeing a huge draw where people are starting to shop and actually make purchases via TikTok. So while you're offering a service, if you're an iGUIDE operator or otherwise, you can still see that purchase come through via TikTok by using your call to actions, which might be like book a demo, book a meeting with me, let's connect to talk about your next project. That's a great way to connect, eh?
For sure.
Like, I think it's being as engaging as creative as you can. When you look at your LinkedIn, I know some people think of LinkedIn as a professional network. It's actually an incredible way. And one of those things that people don't realize, it's that much stronger than Google. So a little quick tidbit. On a professional level, if you're looking to grow, either as an individual or a business, make sure you have your personal professional profile updated. Because guess what? When somebody Googles your name, the first thing that's going to come up is that LinkedIn profile. So it's so important to make sure that you have all of your details there. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have all of your job descriptions and things like that. You want to make sure that you have a clear title as to what you do. So you want to make sure that if you're a capture artist, if you want to call yourself that, if you're an iGUIDE operator, if you're a real estate photographer, if you're a digital media creator, make sure you have your name, your full name clearly there. And then you also have your title, and then have a brief description about what you do. Whenever we're talking about descriptions of what you do, make sure you're speaking directly to your audience. You want to figure out what your niche is, and you want to make sure that you're solving for their pain point. So difference being, can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
Because it's probably a pet peeve as a marketer. Okay. I'm going to tell you what my product does. I'm going to tell you it saves time, it saves money, it, is going to make your business better, so on and so forth. But how is it going to make your business better? What problem is it solving for? Always solve for that problem, right? Always solve for, how am I going to make you more money? How am I going to save you time? Well, it actually does this. Guess what? If I was an iGUIDE operator, I'd be making sure to promote, hey, do you know what? I can come in and I can give you the ultimate listing for your real estate property. Ultimate listing for my real estate property. So attractive as a realtor. And what is it going to do? It's going to shorten the time on market. And it's also going to help you get the most return on investment from that property. So you're going to sell it for more money, and you're going to sell it faster. Super simple. I help you sell homes faster for more money. Value statement right there. What do you think?
100%. Yeah.
100% you're in? I know. Of course we agree with that, right? I mean, we work for iGUIDE. So I talked about your niche, right? What is your niche? Okay. Here's another myth that I just want to bust right up. People say, I don't want to have a niche. I want to be everything to everybody. It's such a mistake. You're not ice cream. You're not chocolate. You can't be everything to everybody.
As much as you want to be, it's just not the case.
It's just not the case, right? Like, of course we want to be everything to everybody. You never want to miss an opportunity. But here's the thing. When you can figure out who your niche is, so who are those people that, man, they just love you. They want to connect with you. They want to listen to what you have to say. They're going to promote your business. They're going to help you make connections. Because guess what? For every person you engage in that niche, they have, let's say, 8 to 10 other people,
their own
similar interests, right? Just like them. Create that net promoter score, as we call it in marketing, where you're getting those referrals. Referrals are your best sales tool, right? So when you talk about niching down, and I don't know if we have questions coming through, how we're doing.
We're good.
We're doing good?
So now,
Okay. So key niches that we see a lot here at iGUIDE are your business owners, your realtors, and your homeowners. So if we talk about niches and we start mapping this out, I'm just going to grab myself here. Excuse me for a second. Who are you targeting? Who are you talking to? Are you talking about realtors? Are you talking about business owners? Are you talking about homeowners? Who do you want to work with the most? So anybody want to give me a sample in the chat? If you don't give me a sample, I'm going to go off and I'm going to find my own. I'm going to find my own niche. But I'd love to help somebody. So if there's somebody in the chat that's, or joining us today that's having a struggle with figuring out a niche, let's figure it out live right now.
We are problem solvers.
I know, 100%. Let's challenge how good we are at finding a niche. All right,
Here we
do
go.
we have one?
Alexander said realtors.
All right, thanks, Alexander. Okay, I'm going to ask you about realtors. So geographically, you're going to go down to what's your travel point, right? So in a geographic level, if you're in a larger city, right, you might have a shorter geographic location that you're willing to travel to, right? You don't want to target those realtors that you're going to have to charge extra for to go outside of that geographic location. If you're in a less dense or less populated area, and you know you're going to have a travel charge, I would suggest, in comparison to your niche, just a word of advice, include that travel charge in your services. Because when you say to somebody, hey, and this is just a little side note, and I'll get right back on track, I promise. So if you say to somebody, travel costs included, such a much better message than saying, if you were outside X amount of miles, kilometers, wherever you may live, additional fees apply. Much better to say travel costs included.
You want to simplify it for them and make it sound like good. Yeah,
you got it. It's a total bonus.
Pre-planned.
Okay. When you break down your realtors, you're going to go through your listings and you're going to think, if I'm starting out as an operator, here's your options. Okay. You want the low-hanging realtors. Why do you want the low-hanging realtors? Because they're not going to be as defined in their business, and they're not going to give you as much of a challenge for your efforts, because your more experienced realtors are going to have more pressure to sell larger properties at a higher margin.
Yep.
So when you have that added pressure on top of that, and this is just some niching feedback, okay, they're going to want everything perfect, and they will not be shy to ask you for a reshoot. So if you go in, say, okay, no fault of your own, you're a beginning photographer, you know, we know these things to be true because I've seen it and I've heard it in the feedback. I go into the property, maybe they have a dog, right? They've got a dog bed, they've got dog toys laying out, or there's something that you don't see because, you know, you're just busy trying to scan a larger property or otherwise, right? It gets lost in the details. We all have nerves and we're all human. That's something that you don't want in that tour. Right? So then that realtor is then again, and it's just a real case scenario, is going to ask you for a reshoot, right? So that's time and money out of your pocket. The lower end real estate realtors, if you're trying to find your niche as a beginner, so we're talking beginner here, they're going to look for like selling a condo or something that's super easy. We're looking at a 4-wall structure, maybe 1 or 2 bedrooms. You know, you probably have an open concept. So it's a little bit easier as a photographer to manage. So that's where you're going to find your niche. And the way to target those guys is to then say, hey, low cost, inclusive prices. Those are the things that are going to resonate with somebody that's just starting out. Now I'm going to talk a little bit for a minute. Maya's laughing because I love marketing.
He has just a follow-up question. So he's asking, can scans not be edited though?
Sure, they can be edited. Sure, they can be edited. But
it just depends on the realtor.
Yeah, it depends on where you're at as a photographer. Yeah. Right. So I'm going with worst case scenario for my examples because I just want to make sure that as you're planning things out, you're always thinking about, okay, worst case scenario is this, best case scenario is this. I'm going to meet myself in the middle and I'm going to right size it for my efforts. I want to make sure that you're safe in the decisions you make, and I'm giving you hopefully the best advice I can. So going back to myself. On a high, do you have another question?
No, he's just saying, sorry, brand new to this.
Oh, cool. Alexandra. Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, I love that you're new. I hope that some of this is helping you out. So then when you go to your higher end, okay, these guys, when you go into that niche, they're going to look for details. So as you're putting things together, so when I figure out my niche and I'm going for a higher end audience, I'm going to look for really well edited imagery. I'm going to look for on point brief because these guys are going to scan. They're going to scan whatever you give them in terms of marketing materials or otherwise, and they're going to pick up the key points and they're going to go. Somebody who's newer is going to have a longer consideration time. So they're going to look through and they're going to a little more information, a little more guarantees, a little bit more of a promise. When you get to the higher end guys, they're going to look at your reputation. They're going to look at your customer testimonials. They're going to look at, hey, how does this guy or girl or person, if you will, pair up to the other people I've worked for. And if I take their work and I put it alongside the other work, are they apples to apples? The difference there is, you know what? You're going to want to differentiate a little bit on your price and you're going to want to give them an added benefit. So maybe the bonus is I do an additional like 2 social posts for you. Do you know the benefit of that for a realtor? I'm sure most of you that have worked with realtors know they're not great at social media. They usually have teams. But if you offer the higher end folks on your niche, and I know we're going a little bit down into the weeds here, but
No, it's all fair points.
It's sort of,
yeah.
it's sort of my habit, and I apologize. But if you give them that added bonus of 2 social posts, so whether it's a reel or it's a static, you can decide, you're going to win their business. So just a couple of different ways to dive at the niche conversation.
Yeah.
And thank you, Alexander, for throwing yourself out there. That takes a lot. I appreciate it.
We had a follow-up question from Edward. So
Yeah.
He asked, when you're talking to the higher end guys, what do you respond to, or why we're better than Matterport?
Oh, I love that. Okay, so when you talk to your higher end guys, here's the thing that people don't think about when they're buying a house. When people have money and people are investing, I'm going to just ballpark this out. I'm going to say $1 million. All right. Depending on what market you're in, let's just use $1 million as like a pretty reasonable high income. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I'm going to spend $1 million on a home. Guess what? If I am able to spend $1 million on a home, I probably have, and this is getting into a little bit of a marketing profile, so forgive me for a moment, I probably have disposable income. Disposable income means that I'm probably going to make a renovation to that property because it's 9 times out of 10, let's say. At that level, do you walk into a property and go, perfect, not touching anything, paint's great, bathroom's great, everything's amazing? They have disposable income. So what the disposable income means when people are purchasing high-end property, they're going to make a renovation, right? Renovations equal costs, right? How can you save people additional costs? Even when you have disposable income, a renovation is a luxury. So here's how you can pitch that. If I was doing sales and I was an iGUIDE operator, I'd say, hey, you know what? As an added bonus, let your client know I will be available to provide them with a DWG file or as-built drawing for X amount of cost. So what I would do is I'd say, here's my proposal for your iGUIDE. Down the road, when your client thinks about renovating this property for the next 6 months, I'll stay true and I'll hold this price firm for an as-built drawing. Do you know how much that's going to save them? That saves on their contractor, that saves on their remodeler, that saves on their permits. And you can do it for an inclusive cost at a fraction of the time it would have taken them.
And you're going to be top of mind when they go to actually do the renovations.
Exactly. And the next time that realtor needs to work with somebody, they're going to say, yeah, I'm going to go with, I'm sorry, who was it? Edward.
Yep.
Because, hey, he gives me more bang for my buck. And I know my clients are going to let me. Realtors want repeat business just as much as you want repeat business. So give them a reason to work with you. So what's the value of that DWG drawing? Like $700 in most times. And what does it cost you for a DWG drawing for iGUIDE? Not that much. It's really like discriminatory in terms of creating value for a client. You can still mark that up. Obviously you would, as a business person, want to add on that extra service, but you have all the data from the iGUIDE. It takes nothing to request the DWG file for that client.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Is that good, Edward? I hope that hit you, because I think that's one of the things that our operators don't take advantage of. Okay, getting back to social media. All right?
Yes.
All right. Okay, here we go. All right. So when you're talking about your social content, 3 things that are really easy to pick and pull from. You want to talk about your everyday, you want to broadcast your company content, and you want to give them resources, right? So you always want to provide value to your audience. So that can look like an ebook, that can look like a checklist, that can look like tips. So you can do simple tips, either in a carousel format, a single post, a reel, or otherwise. I mean, it's pretty versatile. If y'all have ever touched Canva, you know that there's a million templates to choose from, and you can put those things together. You'll see in our resources.
Yeah.
We've got lots of, don't sweat it, because we've got lots of stuff, I promise, coming forward for you for resources and stuff like that.
A bit of everything.
You got it, right? And when you talk about your everyday, what people want to see is not necessarily a brag, but it's like, even if you took a cup of coffee, right? I'm going to do a selfie and I'm going to be like, I'm gearing up to go on one of the best shoots today. I have the most amazing property. Stay tuned to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Right? You're setting yourself up for a series. One, you're talking about, I'm really excited about what I do. So people know I'm passionate. When you're passionate, that equates to quality, that equates to commitment. in people's minds. When you're talking about somebody's property as a realtor, you're giving them free promotion because people are following your feed. So if you have, a certain style of home or a certain style of shooting that works really, really well for your business, you're aligning yourself with that brand. And you can see where I'm going back here. I'm talking about your niche again, right? So this all correlates and integrates together to tell your story of who you are as a person. It doesn't have to be complicated.
No,
like a
not at
simple
all.
selfie can go a long way.
Yeah.
And people love to see what you look like, right? Even like I've seen and I know we get overrun by this by a lot of influencers, but you can see people who are they've got their gear on or they've got their hair in a messy bun or otherwise hair up, laptop open, I'm on it, editing today. I'm going to make something beautiful.
Yeah.
Why do I love my job? I get to connect with people. Those kinds of things really resonate because it gives you people insight into who you are. It doesn't always have to be I provide
business, yeah.
the most value.
Yeah.
When you get to a bigger enterprise, you'll see more of that. But if you're looking at yourself as a single operator or a medium business, those are kind of where you want to focus because you're really just generating relationships, which drive sales. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
You're into that? All right. Okay. Your favorite resource?
Oh my gosh, where do I start? Do I have to pick one?
Yes. Tell me. If you were going to download something, what would you download?
It's a very good question. I know we made the slides, but I even have to think about it.
To be impartial.
Why don't we throw it to the audience?
Okay. I feel like that was a sidewinder on Maya's part. We're going to take note of that.
I may have been looking at the questions and not fully listening.
That's okay. We have
a few questions that have come in.
Okay. Do you want to pause? We'll just pause a second and grab these questions that are coming in.
So one of them is just related to the iGUIDE map. So I don't know if we want to answer that right now, or we'll be happy to answer it after the webinar.
The IM map?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the question?
It's just this person's wondering why they can't see themselves on the IM map.
Oh, pop a note, register. Let me know. I'll get you on there.
So
100% easy peasy done.
We can get that solved.
That's an easy solve. Anybody who doesn't see themselves on the IM map, let me know. Send an email. I can give you my email at the end of this as well. You'll see it in our follow-up from this webinar.
Yeah, with the webinar link.
Yeah.
Another question from Alexander, wondering how do you dictate a fair market price? Do we have an iGUIDE fee guide for operators, or how do you go about it? Do you base it on the location or how big the job size is?
Definitely price it out for square foot. And then you also look at what your travel is and your time. So you want to look at where you are in terms of your experience. So if you are a new iGUIDE operator, what you might do is say, buy a package, right? So what you could do to map out your costs is you could say, buy a package of 3 listings, and I'm going to bundle it at this price, right? So what you can do then is coordinate with that real estate agent to do 3 shoots in the day, which condenses your time, and then also gives you the opportunity to condense your time for editing, condense your time for delivery, and all of those things. When you're able to bundle services together, you're going to save your time and be able to offer a discounted price. When you're talking about what will the market tolerate in terms of what are real estate agents willing to pay, call them up, ask them. Call them up, have a coffee conversation, say, hey, I'm new to the industry, be bold and say, hey, if you were to pay for a virtual tour, what are you looking at? And then they're going to tell you exactly what their tolerance is. And you can kind of get around that from the sense that saying they're going to tell you 10% less than what they actually pay because they're going to want a deal, right? So you're going to add 10% to whatever they tell you, and then you can take the baseline average based on what you think is fair.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that one?
No, you covered it. Yeah.
Feels good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome sauce. Do we have more questions?
Not for now.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Back to social media again.
Back to social. I love it. Well, this is all social, right? So here we're talking about obviously social media, iGUIDE, direct connection. That's why y'all are here today. So a couple ways you can get yourself through. I'm just going to adjust my screen if you wouldn't mind just for a sec. Bear with me here. So iGUIDE for social media. the best way to get yourself out there and showcase what you're doing, you can use the autoplay feature that's on your iGUIDE that's included there. You can do a screen record. You can also screen record, doing a walkthrough of that property. Many editing tools. I mean, I do videos in Canva. You don't have to use Premiere Pro or Adobe. Like they work Canva tools work just fine. So in Canva, you can actually use a feature where you can voice record on your iPhone if you want to. So take your phone, voice record on your iPhone, and then you can edit and bring it into Canva to do a voiceover, or you can record directly in Canva and just walk people through the property. That's a great way to use your iGUIDE. I think the coolest part, honestly, when you use a voiceover and you take the extra time to not just post something that's visually pleasing, but give your feedback on it. And then when you upload it into social, include captions, it just gives people a sense of how much pride you take in your work, which
it's similar,
sells itself.
It's similar to
right?
what we were saying before with like taking a selfie with your gear on. Like this is kind of that similar, but in a different format.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. And I think like when we talk about voiceover, say, okay, guys, I'm so excited to show you this property because X. Here's one of my favorite features. I can imagine myself sitting here doing this, right? Whether it's sitting in front of a fireplace, walking out onto a deck, showing people a view from the house. I mean, when you do those kinds of little added value things, and you can think about it in a sense of, and we're going to get to calendar scheduling because it sounds overwhelming to do all this work. When you actually break it down, it's not that bad. It just gives your extra value for when you're going to those high-end clients, you're going to start out your business to show people how committed you are to doing a great job for them. Okay?
Yeah.
I think.
We have a question from Laurent, just asking, can you show an example and software used? And do you want to just clarify, is it editing software you're talking about or just Canva in general for the screen?
So we've actually
both. Okay.
Okay. Yep. So we actually have 2 links on this deck, and we're going to send this out to you afterwards, how to screen record on a Mac and how to screen record on a PC. Those are both free tools that you can use. And I can send you out a quick demo. I'll make a note to include a link to Canva to show you how to edit video in Canva. Because if we get into that, honestly, you're going to spend a lot more time with me than you bargained for today. Honest to gosh, because I love Canva.
We love Canva. Yeah.
It's so easy. It's honestly, okay. 2 seconds.
Yeah, 2 seconds. Yeah.
Okay. In Canva, the great part about Canva is that it actually doesn't lose a lot of the quality of your video when you upload it. So for social media, you don't need high quality video to be able to upload it into the platform because you don't want the size to be over extraneous where it puts strain on like Facebook streaming, IG, otherwise, because we know it's fast, right? So you're only looking for maybe 30 seconds. You don't want to go beyond that too much if you're trying to connect people's attention. And then in Canva as well, it has a really cool little transition feature. So if you need to do 2 cuts because you're not sure what to do, you want to just get really creative with it and knit things together, you can do that as well. But it's honestly,
the possibilities are endless.
Probably the most affordable marketing tool.
And that too. Yeah.
Sure. Not that I work for Canva, just that I use it a lot. Maybe a little too much. Like, let's be honest, truthfully, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that helped. And I promise I will send out those resources to you as well. So photos, of course, photos are awesome. Simple flat format. If you utilize again like Canva or you want to create something on your own, you can just even create carousels in your Instagram natively from your phone. So as you're going through a property, if you just, as you're scanning with your iGUIDE, stop, take a couple of photos. We know that you can use like different effects. If you have an iPhone, I'm an iPhone user, you can use like your filters, you can use panos and otherwise, to be able to knit those things together. Even taking a selfie in the property and then with a thumbs up, you would be shocked at how many people love to see a thumbs up in a photo.
Especially as like a teaser post as well.
It's super fun. And the more quirky and fun you are, the more relatable you are on social media. Truthfully, the things that are a little less polished, that are a little more authentic, play so much better than something that looks like it's been orchestrated and designed to be perfect. People love human content.
Yeah.
And I think that really resonates on TikTok. Eh?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. The more human you are, the better. It's so much easier to connect with somebody that's human versus somebody who sort of seems like too perfect or unattainable, right? We can't all be Kardashians. If I make that reference, like, well, I know thumbs up and thumbs down on that one. Kardashian reference, never good, right? So goes up and down.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so another thing to note, sorry, just as a little side note, if you're really trying to figure out a style or a brand, another thing that you can do is add a consistent filter to all of your photos. So you can create a consistent filter or consistent lighting that you always use on your social media. And that kind of, again, adds to that flavor.
And it's a very easy thing to do, especially again, like if you're in Canva, you just make a template and then lay it over top of video or photo.
Yeah, or it's natively in your phone.
Or that.
Right? It's natively in your phone and in Instagram as well.
So we have a question from Jennifer. So how are you achieving that sharpness in 3D tours? It might not be the proper platform to ask this right now. How are we achieving the sharpness in 3D tours?
Sharpness for imagery, like context
for the panos or for the actual, for the panos.
For the panos, yeah. Okay, so you could take your iGUIDE panos right from the platform and you can apply an effect in, I would say Photoshop is probably your best tool there, or any of your photo editing software that you'd be using on the back end to be able to create those for your listing. So you can even create like standardized actions or otherwise an overlays that may come just pre-built into that platform. Yeah. I think that would be my best advice there. I'm going to keep it really simple. Technical editing and otherwise, I mean, I'm good, but I'm not the best. Yeah. But I can also find additional resources for you. I'm sure
there's other people too that are on the webinar that might have some other options as well to share with you.
Yep, I'll add that. I'm adding that as a note and I'll add it as a PS in our follow-up resources. Because I know we have experts on the team that can give a better answer than me. For sure. I will leave that. All right. Okay. So we talked about your niche. We talked about content. We talked about how to integrate your iGUIDE, but how do you get your stuff out there and where should you be using it? And it looks like, here we go. There we go. Full animations coming up there. So when you're talking about your content, we're going to take just a quick minute here. I promise I'll try and keep it to a quick minute. Maya's keeping us on track today. Yep. About when and where to post content. So when you look at your Facebook, it really is the epitome of a social platform. We don't see as much where we saw the trend previously where people were like, I'm having this for breakfast or I'm doing this. We're seeing it more of a social connection platform. So when you're posting things on Facebook, you really want it to be about building a relationship or talking about something that's happening within your life. So it's real life stuff within your business or personally that you're willing to share with a broader audience. The best time to post on that is 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. in your respective time zones. So, and the reason that being is most people get up in the morning and they're just looking for something to scroll through while they're having coffee. It's lighthearted, it's not too intense, they're catching up on what's going on. And then they may just kind of lean that into like their morning coffee break. So that's why we say from 7 till 10 a.m. When you talk about Instagram, kind of the same style. Like we're looking for that visual play and distraction. So we're looking for something that's visually pleasing, that's interesting, that I can relate to. I think one of the favorite things on social media that I find the funniest, and this is me personally, this is not a general iGUIDE thing. I love my funny jokes and I love my memes. Like when it makes me laugh out loud, I know that that creator has done a good job because they just connected with me. The thing about Instagram, so Instagram has the logarithm on point. So if people are interacting with your content, you can rest assured that they're going to constantly see all of your content. So for instance, if you don't believe me or you're just not sure, go and search something obscure on Instagram. So if you searched, I don't know, not funny cat videos or something like that, but if you searched like nature videos with exotic pets, okay, give it a day. You will only see nature videos with exotic pets on your feed.
Explore
It's
feed, yeah.
unbelievable. So having great content on Instagram that's entertaining, it's so valuable because Instagram will automatically pick that up and they're going to feed it to your viewers and they're going to feed it to that niche audience that we've already established and we talked about earlier. X, okay, I'm not going to talk too much about this one. People have strong feelings about X, but there again, you could also argue that's a great branding strategy by them, right? There's polarized sides to that. X is really about the content and the unfiltered messaging. So if you're somebody who has a really strong voice and you want to be known for your opinion or how you feel, how you think, how you act, X is your platform because it's relatively unfiltered, uncensored,
100%.
right? And you're going to see a lot of content on there that's a little bit controversial. So if you have the aptitude or for your niche, you find that they want to be controversial and they're people that you want to connect with, that would be where you would put that content. As a general branding exercise and otherwise, we tend to refrain from it just because it is an unfiltered channel. So it can be a little bit of, I hate to say it, but the wild, wild west when it comes to putting yourself out there. So you just want to be cautious and you want to be hyper vigilant if you are active on that platform to be able to make sure that you're following up and you're managing your comments and you're taking care of the posts and content that you're putting out there. LinkedIn, as a marketing person, is my favorite platform because I love the logarithm. I love the SEO. I love what it does for true creators on the platform. LinkedIn, you want to be really, really careful if you're putting content on there that it's not AI generated. You see a lot of AI generated content on LinkedIn being stripped out or pulled down because it has the filters and it has the ability to acknowledge what it is, and then it will kind of, if you will, park it. What LinkedIn wants to see is value-added content where you're actually speaking to your audience and giving them help or support or advice that's going to help them grow as a professional. It's really about what the platform's about. It's not about jobs. That is another myth I would love to break. It's not about just creating professional connections so you can get a job or you can get, a connection or referral or otherwise. It's really about the betterment as an individual in a professional environment. So you want to be able to promote your business that way. You might talk about, hey, as a realtor, as a real estate photographer, I helped X realtor by doing this for their listing. Awesome post. Give me 3 or 4 points. That's it. 3 hashtags max on any of these platforms. That's one of my key pieces of advice. You go over 3 or you go, I'm going to say go over 5. On average, you want to stay in max, 3, go over. If you go over 5, it's going to automatically categorize you as spam. You're not going to get the same promotion on the algorithm. It's so important to respect those boundaries. I think. Keep going.
The less hashtags, the better.
Yeah. So I love this slide. I'm going to give Maya full credit for putting this together because she did all the hard work to put this together for you guys. So this is a sample posting calendar or schedule that you could use for your business. So what she's done is she's gone through and you can see all these details, and I promise I said we're going to share this PowerPoint. Yeah, if you have any questions about it, throw them in the chat. I love to talk about this stuff. This is where I live. I live in what do we need to talk about? When do we need to talk about? How can we help our audience? So when you're talking about your content, so say you're a new business, I believe it was Alexander, you're a new business, okay? When you're a new business or you're coming in and you want to change the conversation of what's actually happening on your social channels, which I think could be the case for a number of the people that have joined us today, you want to make sure that you take the time to build out who you are as a brand. Okay? All right. So when we talk about who you are as a brand, it means what do you like to do as a brand, personally or as a business? What's your voice? What kind of conversations can people expect to have with you if they reach out to you? So that's where you're going to show like, here's what I'm doing today. This is what it looks like. It's going to feel a little less targeted as you build out that brand. Here's why. when the algorithm looks at you as a new brand or somebody who's trying to break into something, you want to be able to tell it that you're helpful, you're offering advice that's related to your direct niche that you've decided to work with, and that you have the ability to be creative and deliver entertaining content. So those are the three things you're going to look at when you're building out your content in terms of a new brand. When you're a more mature brand, you can start to double down and really start talking about some of your products and things like that, or solutions that you offer. So you may start to pepper it a little bit with more product focused posts, more solutions focused posts, because you've established who you are. Now you're going into what you provide, but you're also going to really make sure when you're in the provide stage that you're also providing that entertainment value. All of these platforms are about entertainment. LinkedIn obviously is professional entertainment or development, but you look at Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, Reddit. I mean, there's so many of those platforms out there. You can choose which one works.
Sorry to interrupt. We got a question come in. I can't see the full name beginning with Anna's. What if we post the same content on all platforms?
Oh, that's a good
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay. So if you're going to take the same content and put it across platform, you want to make sure you format it for each platform. So in LinkedIn, you're going to go longer content because it's going to read the content first, and then it's going to categorize it and it's going to prioritize it based on what you're teaching your audience. Facebook, you can go
Slightly shorter.
I would say a half to a third shorter. And you want to be able to make sure that has some sort of interactivity. So if I, for instance, was posting, I don't know, a great listing, I'm going to use a great listing on LinkedIn to say, hey, look what I shot for this realtor. Look how I'm building their business. Then I'm going to post that same thing on Facebook and say, I had the best experience with this realtor, tagging that agency, right? Because I want to make sure on that agency where I know it's entertainment, people are going to click through, or that they're going to see that I'm promoting them because that's my biggest audience
Sorry,
point.
I think it was a misunderstanding on our part.
Oh, sorry.
So they meant if we use Lumi or something like that. So scheduling.
Okay.
We'll get to in a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I fully misread it as well.
Okay,
Sorry
cool.
about that.
Sorry.
We went down a different track.
That's okay.
That's
I'll just
fine.
finish that.
Yeah.
I'll just finish that thought for anybody else who was maybe,
Had the
okay.
same question, yeah.
Yeah. So on Facebook, I'm talking about the experience I had. On Instagram, I'm going to keep it really short. I'm going to probably use an emoji on there, and I'm going to keep my hashtags in there so that hashtags end up in your logarithm cycling through your content. So if you hashtag real estate location, so if I am in Colorado, hashtag real estate Colorado or Colorado real estate, I'm going to use that consistently on all of my posts to be able to use the same content across. So if I'm using a social platform to create and distribute all of my content, you can do the same thing. I would do the same thing on that platform. I would take that content, I would copy paste it, write out my biggest post first, and then just look at right sizing it across the different channels, because different channels are there, or different platforms, different platforms are there for different purposes for your audience, because your audience is different on each one.
Yeah.
I think that's
going to
the
be
big
looking
thing.
at different things or expecting other things. So,
and if you only want to commit, you don't want to commit to doing all of the channels, that's okay.
Yeah.
I would suggest picking, if you really want to pare it down and you want to do like minimal social media, I would do either Facebook or Instagram. I mean, those are interconnected, right?
Yeah.
So you can either, this is what you can do. When you post on Facebook, you can automatically post on Instagram, right? And it's automatically going to right size it and take it over there. Yeah. Or you can post on Instagram and do the same. So you want to just tailor your content for one or the other, knowing that it's going to be shared across the other platform. You're just going to have a little bit of inconsistency there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay. And then if you can, commit to doing LinkedIn twice a week.
Just like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn can look at engaging with people's content. My favorite LinkedIn hack, find somebody that you love following. Okay. Pick an influencer. Okay. Pick any influencer you like on LinkedIn, follow them, figure out what their logarithm is for posting content, and then set up a little notification in your phone to check LinkedIn at that time. be one of the first 10 commenters on their post. It's going to blow your mind. It's my favorite hack, because what that does is the first 10 comments are always the most relevant because people interact with them the most. And it also brings your profile up to all of those followers. So
especially if they're pinned.
You got it
as well. Yeah.
You got it. So you're following somebody, anybody like you is also following that person. It's going to drive more leads and awareness on LinkedIn. Super hack. It's my favorite one. I know. She's laughing at me because I talk about it all the time because I love LinkedIn. All right. How are we doing for time?
We got about 10 minutes left.
So. We're doing great for time. All right. So we put together a few do's and don'ts for you guys, and please weigh in the comments on this. Like, I'd love to hear in the chat what you're thinking. The best way to go about posting in your day. So I'm going to look at my laptop to remind myself what we put here. So posts at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday usually perform the best. So if you want to do something that is lead generating or really creating awareness, keep those days in mind. Your Mondays, people are usually overwhelmed. They're looking for entertainment. So if you want to post your memes, something to start their week, a little bit of inspiration, that's your Monday. Friday, entertainment. So when you see those different reels and you can do these and they're automated when you create your reels, if it's a quiz or a opinion poll or whatever, that's a Friday thing. Saturdays and Sundays, 100% entertainment. Picture yourself, pajamas, couch, coffee. What are you clicking on, right? Yeah. Create content that resonates with you because that's going to resonate with your audience as well.
And again, you can use some of the options that we had in the previous calendar on weekends as well. Yeah. It's not limited to just weekdays. So
yeah. It's only suggested, right? Yeah. You're going to take those ideas and you're going to filter them out and you're going to make them work for your business and for your niche, right? I know we always talk about ourselves, but we really need to think about that niche. We really need to help those folks out. Sending simple messages. So when someone comments, they always say, don't live in the comments. When I hear don't live in the comments, I mean, don't take what people say about you to heart. And you're going to get trolls. If you're getting trolls, you're actually doing a great job. So every time you get a troll, exactly. If you get a troll, it means the algorithm's working and somebody in the magic world of building these fake personas out has tagged you as somebody that's worthy of engaging with. So it's actually like a little mini celebration, but don't take it to heart. If you need to, you can always mute them, set them aside, otherwise block them on all of the channels. In extreme cases, you can report them as well. Mm-hmm. But it does mean that your content is actually fitting into the algorithm. Make sure, if you can, set 10 minutes aside. I always say like morning, midday, and evening, usually later evening, to comment and interact with everything everybody's saying. If you try to get yourself into a place where every time you get a notification, you're responding or reacting or otherwise, it's gonna become overwhelming and it's gonna be too much to do.
It's gonna become your full-time job.
Oh my gosh, it's too much. That's Maya. Yeah. That's what we make Maya do. So don't become Maya. As much as we love her, don't do that to yourself. It's too much on top of the
designated time. It'll improve everything.
Yeah. And also people get used to that. The one thing that you just want to be conscious of is if you get a direct message, you want to respond to that as quickly as possible, because chances are that person's direct messaging your competitors as well. So you want to make sure that you're the first one to respond with the most friendly and informed response. Make sense?
Yep.
All right. Cool. Always include helpful links and resources. People love to learn. You want to entertain your audience and help them out. And of course, be a helpful guide. I think we've mentioned that a few times today. If nothing else, take that to heart and take that away for your niche audience. A few things not to do. Don't use capital letters unless you're like so excited and happy. Be very cautionary with that. It's really hard for people to see and read like anything in all caps. It's really hard for your eye to travel across it.
There's a lot going on.
Because people are scanning, it comes across as a block and they don't see the differentiation in the letters. So their eyes don't register the text as easily as they would have if it was just sentence case. Careful with using different colors and fonts. It's also cautionary to be aware of if you write something in red, it generally makes it seem urgent and almost scary.
Yep.
Difference being if you use a red element with white text, it looks like a sale. So simple little tips like that from a design perspective when you're doing your creative make a big difference in your engagement. Don't use generic or ChatGPT based content. If you can, I know ChatGPT is amazing. It's great for ideas. It's great for different perspectives or resources and things like that. Using ChatGPT generated content can really hinder how you perform on the algorithms, because what it does is actually pulls all that information out of somebody else's content and then reserves it to the audience with your branding perspective on it. So I'm gonna be conscious of time because I know I'm getting tight, right?
I got a minute.
We're still doing good. All right. So we just pulled out a few of our content creators that we've either worked with or that work with us or have reached out to us. And otherwise, the Morgan Walsley group, such a fun group. Like, they are just fun. You probably saw them in our iGUIDE instant video. We worked with them actually because they just love to have fun on content. They're really easy on camera. Really easy on camera because they do it all the time. So if you look at their social account, you'll even see, like, little quick tip, they do simple little throwouts to like pop culture. So if anybody likes the movie Dumb and Dumber, they actually have one of their videos where they do a call out for Dumb and Dumber. It's really like low key, but it shows you just kind of their funny personality. They're both a little bit quirky. They're really fun and engaging, and they love what they do. And that very much comes across in their content. So you can see a good mix of content there, from video to helpful links to promoting their clients' homes and otherwise. Cody does a really great job of just showcasing his work and bringing things out and putting all the things together. I think we've tried to just kind of choose a few creators so that, given where you are in your journey as a marketer or a business, that you can kind of align with somebody that makes sense. Ryan, awesome. Like, he shows all his projects. Like, he's really proud of his work. You can tell he's a great work ethic and that he really knows what he's doing and he's talking to his audience. Yeah.
I think in his profile it said over 3,600 projects completed. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool because like, as somebody who's looking or prospecting to find someone to work with, you're like, this guy's on it. He's working.
So we've linked all their profiles as well. You can have a look after to get any inspo as well for your own businesses if you'd like.
All right. Okay. This is my favorite slide. I know.
It's so pretty.
Because it's resources?
Yes.
Okay. Oh dear. All right. So we're just coming up. So what we've done here, I'll just give you like a 30-second overview. And if you want to jump into the chat, because we're just a few minutes away from the top of the hour, we're going to end this session. But we tried to give you just a broad spectrum of resources. I can additionally qualify that we have a couple of our own operator enablement resources we've been working on the last couple of weeks that we're going to include in the follow-up email with the recording and the presentation after today. But this kind of gives you sort of like I've never done social media before. I just need something to sort of give me a strong library or a starting point to be able to build something out. So enough talking. Later is a free scheduling tool. You can go in there, connect your social accounts, add in whatever makes sense to you, and you can use those tools to not only post, but also track your engagement. So it's really important to understand what's performing well and what you should be creating more of. So if you're seeing that your FAQs or your quick tips or just your personal branding posts are performing best, you want to create more of that content, because again, you want to play to the algorithm and what your audience wants to see. And later we'll actually publish all that for you and be able to see comparatively how it's working together. Quickly looking at Maya to see if I'm missing anything.
No, you got it.
Canva, we've talked about it a ton. Canva has a ton of web tutorials that you can find out. And one of the best ways to actually find the best tutorials on Canva is to use Pinterest. So you kind of play the two social platforms together. But if you go on Pinterest and you say Canva and then enter in whatever you want to do, you'll get a whole host of resources, ideas. Like, it's just got some really cool tips and tricks where people have hacked it and otherwise. Unsplash has some great image resources and otherwise that you can leverage. Just add the attribution to the photographer, obviously being respectful of the hard work they put into the images they're putting up there. But there's things that you can use for, you know, your social banners, for your social content, and otherwise kind of some fun artistic pieces if you don't have the time to put it together yourself, that you can kind of just leverage the expertise of people also in the real estate or in the, photography industry. Buffer, another social scheduling tool. MailChimp for your email marketing. For anybody that isn't using an email marketing tool, MailChimp's really easy and fun. You can also check out their socials. They have the funnest socials. They do such a great job.
Really good ads and stuff. Yeah.
They have they've hacked it. They've done a great job. When you look at Linktree, we've included that because one of the biggest missed opportunities in having an Instagram account is not having that link in bio. So it's really important when if you're going to focus on Instagram, is you want to make sure that, excuse me for one sec, you're using your Linktree features. So you're able to showcase all of the key points, links, things that you're doing or that resources that your audience needs to be able to utilize you as a business and then refer you out, right? Hootsuite AI tools. So I included this one because this is actually a link to a whole ton and a host of Hootsuite tools. Yeah. Hootsuite as a social media management platform does have a cost associated with it, but they do have a lot of free tools that can be really handy when you're trying to create.
Especially if you're just starting out.
Yeah. Ryan Robinson, he is the OG when it comes to blogging. Does such a great job with all of his blogging tools and otherwise. So if you're looking for how to write, how to create things, he has a free headline creator, so you can use that as well. But he's an awesome resource, bit of a deep dive. He's definitely one you want to sit back on a Saturday and just kind of look through all of his resources because he really does such a spectacular job of just breaking everything in and hacking that SEO code. Katie Steckley, awesome. Just as a content creator, she rocks it. She'll help you, and she's somebody that can also talk to the quality of your equipment if you're looking to become a social media content creator, or if you just want to be able to market your business. Follow her on Instagram. Her content's light, it's easy, simple to follow, and it's always on point. So how'd we do? Any other questions that we can answer?
We have one from Derek.
Sure.
Asking, is there a course that you would recommend to learn more about using social media? So I know there's a bunch of ones that are free and ones that you could pay for, but
yeah. Honestly, Derek, I would follow Katie. Honestly, she is so good. Sign up for her newsletter. Also, I'll include these guys. I'll include a couple of influencers in the email follow-up as well, and make myself a note. But also, if you're looking for audience borrowing and understanding like how to find your niche and stuff like that, Caitlin Bergeron, she does Unignorable with Neil Grady, and they're amazing at just giving you insights as to like, how do I even position this? I follow them on LinkedIn. I have done their courses. They're fantastic in terms of just really starting to get your head around how do you kind of come together to figure out how to talk to people, whether it's in an email or whether it's person to person. So I'll include those for you too.
Awesome. I don't think we have any other questions. If we did miss any, we'll be sure to get back to you after the webinar once we send out the links and everything. Thank you everyone for joining us today.
I hope you had as much fun as we did.
Yeah, we could literally continue talking about it, but we know everyone is busy.
Yeah, and that's it too. If you have ideas on follow-up sessions, things that you want to double down on, or you want us to come back and talk about, happy to create content for you and help you out. Our goal here is to really make sure that you guys have what you need to be successful in business. And if we can offer you resources, insights, advice that might be helpful, we're happy to do it. Yeah. And we just really appreciate you guys joining us today. It's been so much fun putting this together. Yeah. Like, awesome. Amazing. So thank you so much, guys, for the opportunity. Good luck with all of your marketing initiatives and social media. We'll follow up tomorrow with all of the resources we talked about today and reach out to anything we can help with. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
All right. Signing off. Take care, guys.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.